Welcome back to the channel, everybody, for another ESO build video. I'm Fuzzy Juggernaut. Today I'm going to be showing you my spin to win Stamden for the Markarth patch. But first, before we get into the build, if you like the content on this channel, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, and push that notification bell to get the latest content from this channel. Now let's get into it. So in this video, you'll notice there's only a couple minutes of gameplay. I actually have a lot more footage of really good fights, but they're a lot longer and sort of drawn out, so I wanted to keep this video under 20 minutes, and it just wasn't possible to put those clips in there. So I'll be putting another gameplay video on the gameplay for this build out in like a couple days, so you guys can check that out if you want to see more gameplay. But I assure you, this build hits really hard. It's nasty. It's got good survivability. We got high crit, which is nice. It's not the highest crit you can get, but it's really good crit for what we have to work with. And I've tried multiple builds, multiple sets, and honestly this one works the best for me. You can change it up if you'd like, but honestly this thing is really fun to play. It's actually, I haven't played Stamina in I don't know how long, probably about a year and a half besides my Stam DKs. So this is the first Stamina tune I'm on. I only had about a day and a half of footage. That's about as long as I've been playing the spin to win Stamden. Anyways, back to the build. We've got really good burst damage, insane combos that hit really hard. We got great survivability, like I said. The crit's really nice, and our damage is insane for the sets we're rocking. You wouldn't think you could get it this high, but it does. We get up to like 5,300. In the video I say 51, but it's actually 53, as you saw in the screenshot in the beginning. This build overall, man, it slaps people. You can play solo or in group, but honestly I play solo, so that's why I wanted to put this one out. Requires a little finesse, but you can also cheese it if you'd like. But regardless of that, we'll just hop into the build and we'll get right into it. Alright, here we are. Let's hop into the character sheet real quick. These are our unbuffed stats on our front bar, dual wield bar. We are actually, when we're fully buffed up with resource keep and all the damage buffs and everything, we'll be sitting at 5.1k weapon damage with 45% crit, which is really nice. Now we'll go to the back bar. You can pause it real fast if you need to see. These are unbuffed stats on the back bar sorting board. We have 9 into health, 55 into stamina. I am an orc on this build. You can go with Imperial, Nord, Wood Elf, Khajiit, whatever you'd like. The top 3, if you're not going to go Orc, I would go with like Wood Elf or Nord, honestly. It's up to you though. We are running Bewitch Sugar Skulls for the food. You can run whatever else you'd like. Bewitch Sugar Skulls by far gives us the best bang for the buck. So I highly recommend that. I am werewolf, but I'm not werewolf on this build. I just have werewolf on this guy. I do not use werewolf. I just haven't taken it off. Then we have the warrior for the Mundus Stone, 238 weapon damage that we get. Now if we buff up a little bit, these will be half buff stats on the front bar, which like I said, they go even higher, and depending on what you run for your monster set, it's up to you. Right now we don't have a damage set on for our monster set, so they'll go even higher. We have 22.5k spell and physical resistance with 2737 critical. Our recovery goes up to 2500, I think. And then this is also without a pot. We have 30k health when we're fully buffed up, but normally you'll be running with 27. We don't even need that much health. We have 15k magicka and 30k stamina. Back bar. We're sitting at 26,600 spell and physical resistance with 2861 critical. Everything's the same pretty much except for our crit and our damage, but our damage is still decently high. We get good heals. Now let's go into our inventory. For pots, I am using Tri-Restoration pots. You can use the craftable ones, Crown Tri-Restoration ones, whichever ones, or you can use immovability pots. Preferably ones with stamina, not magicka. It's up to you though. Our first set, we're going to be running Hunting's Rage. This is a very old set from the beginning. This set is actually amazing, and I'm actually happy that I'm able to utilize it again. The set is actually really good. Now, most people would think New Moon, yes, is good. I've tried multiple sets on this build for damage sets, and honestly, Hunting's Rage did the best because overall we get the crit, we get the stamina, and we get the weapon damage, which is really nice. The weapon damage is only 300. With New Moon, we'll be getting 200 more weapon damage, so it'd be 500. But you're losing out on a line of crit and the stamina. The stamina is important in my opinion, and crit is really important for this build. If you went with New Moon, which you can go with New Moon will ultimately, you'll have to get rid of the Warrior Munda Stone and put on the critical Munda Stone, so your crit goes higher. This is a crit build. Crit is still really nasty and good. It's just hard to obtain these crit builds because of the way the patch is, but honestly, I found a way to make it work. This is what I run. It's just a template. You don't have to run it like this. So I have a sword. Preferably you can go with maces if you'd want, but I like the sword and the dagger. The dagger is going to give us the critical that we need to push us over that 40%, and then the sword gives us 3% increased damage to all of our abilities. I have a poison damage on here. You can put a weapon damage on both if you'd like. Nernhoned. On the dagger, we have weapon damage enchantment, which is going to be 226 with infused. You can go precise if you'd like, but that 226 is what pushes us over the 5k mark for weapon damage. Back bar, we're running Hunting's Rage, sword, sharpen, poison damage. You can switch out this enchantment. These are old sets that I crafted like years ago and just threw them on here since half of them were golded out. Shield, impenetrable. Preferably you go reinforced or sturdy. We have a tri-stat enchantment on here. I apologize for the noise. My washer is actually right next to my gaming room, so it's a little noisy. Now, for our monster set, we are running Bloodspawn. Bloodspawn is very viable, especially if you play solo. The set is still really good in my opinion, and it saved my ass more than I can count. Stamina on here with impenetrable. Now you can go reinforced if you'd like, but overall Bloodspawn is going to give us a little bit more stamina recovery, which is nice for our resource, and pretty much when you take damage you have a 6% chance to get 13 ultimate and 3600 physical and spell resistances for 5 seconds, which is nice. You get your ulti back really quick, especially because we're running Dawnbreaker. Now I also do run Balorgs. Balorgs is really nice. It'll increase your damage a little bit more, and it'll increase when you use your ulti, it'll increase your weapon damage and your penetration by a shit ton. So instead of like 5100, you're going to be hitting up to like 56 to 58 plus an insane amount of penetration. You'll absolutely nuke people. I switch them out. It just is situational and depends on what I'm doing, but overall Bloodspawn and Balorgs are the two must that I would say go with. Slimecraw, you can use one piece Slimecraw if you want, and one piece Crags for penetration and crit. I wouldn't use a two piece since the Warden, we already have a skill on our bar that gives us minor berserk, so it's sort of pointless. For our third set and fifth piece set is going to be Eternal Vigor, no surprise there. It's just a really good sustain set. It gives us a lot of recoveries and gives us that extra bit of health, which helps with our healing. 325 stamina, Magicka recovery while you're above 50%, 1000 health recovery while your health is below 50%. So our health recovery when we drop below 50% is at like, plus when you use a pot, is like 2600, which is really nice. We have Reinforced with Stamina on there. I need to put max Stamina enchantments on here. I haven't done that yet. Reinforced on the Bloodspawn shoulders. Preferably you'd want Impen on here. I just haven't transmutated it. I have 18 characters, and I know I have Impenetrable, Medium, Shoulder somewhere, but I didn't want to spend 2 hours looking for them, so I just used these. Belt of Hundings, Impenetrable Stamina. Impenetrable Stamina on the arms of Hundings. Then we have the legs of Eternal Vigor. This is impenetrable. You can go with Reinforced if you'd like. And then Tri-Stat enchantment on here. You don't need the Tri-Stat. We're already at enough health, so you could just put a Stamina enchantment. I just haven't done it yet. Then we have Hunding's Boots, Impenetrable Stamina on here. Then we have Eternal Vigor Jewelry, all infused. 2 weapon damage glyphs and 1 recovery glyph. I just have 2 weapon damage glyphs on the necklace and 1 ring, and then the last ring I have stamina recovery on. Alright, now let's go to our skills. So, our first skill on our front bar, on our dual wield bar, is going to be Subterranean Assault. This tooltip, it's out pretty much 15k. It goes a lot higher than that though when we're fully buffed up. This instead it doesn't have the major breach anymore, but it costs hardly anything, and the cool part about it is I actually like this better than the original version they had, because you get a second one that pops out like 3 seconds later or something, or a second or 2 later, and it deals a mass amount of damage, and it actually saves you in resources, so you can get major breach from the sorting board on the back bar if you need it. Then we have Bird of Prey. This is going to give us our minor berserk plus major expedition, which is nice for 6 seconds, increasing our movement speed. Then we have Camouflage Hunter. We're just using this pretty much to pull Nightblades out of stealth if we need to, which we don't even need to use this to get them out of stealth because we have some abilities that will take them out. But we are using this for the critical, for our build to push us above that 40%. You really want to be above 40% on this build, not below. I've tested, like I said, New Moon and a bunch of other stuff out, and pretty much New Moon and Hundings came out to the same because I took away the Warrior. Now you can leave the Warrior on, but I was just getting so much more crit hits with having the extra crit and more damage with the Hundings. But if you leave the Warrior on, or take the Warrior off and put on New Moon and with the critical, the only thing is that you lose out on resources. So you're going to have like 1058 less stamina, but then it also calculates all together, so it's actually like 1500. And then to top it off, you have a 5% increase ability cost on all your abilities. So it just, honestly, it just wasn't worth it for me. I was able to nuke people down with this, so I went with Hundings, and I like Hundings a lot. Whirling Blades, this is going to be when they get below 50%, that's pretty much our execute, but you can go at 50%, and the tooltip goes a lot higher. I was hitting people for like 8 to 10k Whirling Blades, just finishing them off, and half the time that wasn't even critting. I've critted even higher actually. Then we have Cutting Dive. This is a really good ability. It's ranged, and you can use it up close, set the enemy off balance, plus it does a good amount of damage right off in the beginning. And if you set them off balance, it also causes them to bleed for like 8.5k physical damage over 7 seconds, so it's really nice. You can stack up a lot of damage with this, and it's pretty cheap to use. I have no problem with sustain on this build, so it's actually really nice. Dawnbreaker of Smiting, this is going to be our ultimate. Tooltip, it goes a lot higher than this, but ultimately it's not the best anymore, but it works really well with the combos that you're going to use on this build. And not to mention this Dawnbreaker Smiting and Camouflage Hunter, the reason I also have both of these on here is because it stacks more damage from the Fighters Guild passives that we're using, ultimately giving us more damage consistently overall for our abilities. Back bar, we're using Ice Fortress. This is going to give us our minor protection, which reduces our damage taken by 5% for 24 seconds, which is really nice. It can be really handy, especially when you're solo. And then it also gives us our Major Resolve, which increases our physical and spell resistances by almost 6k. Bleaching Vines, this is a flex spot. You can take this off if you don't want it, or you can morph it to the other one. It's up to you. I just left it as it is, like this. Pretty much every time you take damage, when you put this on, you're getting health back from the enemy and healing at the same time from the damage you're taking. This can be a really good ability to have on, but you can take this off and put on, I don't think I have it morphed yet. Yeah, I didn't morph it, but Puncture, but the morph for Puncture, if you want, right there. And then Bullnetch, free cost. You can spam this as much as you'd like. You get free resources back and increases your damage, get Major Brutality and Sorcery. And it also removes a negative effect from you, which is also nice, and then also restore stamina. And this can buff up your health from 27k to 30k just by hitting this a couple times to keep you at the higher resource pool for your health. Our next is going to be Arctic Blast. Now you don't have to use this. The only reason I'm using Arctic Blast, I don't recommend doing this, it's sort of cheesy, but I haven't played on a stamina character besides my Stam DK in 2 years, so I put this on because I solo and I get hunted down by a lot of people half the time. So I put on Arctic Blast. Now, I actually found that I probably really don't need it, and I'll probably take it off soon, but Arctic Blast is a really good heal, especially for wardens and the more health you have. I'm trying not to stack too much into health. I'm probably going to take some away, like I said. But this overall really works really well, especially stacked with Vigor. Both these are really, really nice heals to have and pretty much makes you close to unkillable, depending on the situation you're in. But the Arctic Blast is really nice to have, but this is also a flex spot. This is your main flex spot, so you actually don't need this. You could put Puncture there, or vice versa in the Leeching Vines, and then you could put Swarm if you want to get minor vulnerability on your target. It's up to you. Then we have Vigor for our last heal, but these two heals together are really strong. Vigor is really strong on here too, especially when we're buffed up. You probably would only need Vigor. It will carry you the way. And then Healing Thicket. Only reason I'm running this is because I don't have my Sword and Board ulti leveled up, but I would use Sword and Board or Undo, the Morph to Undo for the Sijik, but I don't have that either. I made this character, I don't know, like a month or two ago, so I'm not going to fully grind him up. I've got 18 characters. It's a lot of work. Too much. So I use Healing Thicket. This is a really good heal, and you can run out of it and still get the buffs from it. And it can heal anyone that's around you. For our champion points, this is just the template. You don't have to run your champion points like I do. 44 into Warlord, 13 into Sprinter, 43 into Arcanist, 64 into Mooncalf, 32 into Healthy, 51 into Tumbling, 23 into Shadow Ward just for a little extra blocking when we need to. If you're healing, you can block and hit your heals at the same time. It'll stop you from taking a majority of damage and let your heals get in. 43 into Blessed for our healing. 72 Master at Arms. 48 Precise Strikes for that crit. 51 into Piercing. 56 into Mighty. 48 into Ironclad. Now, preferably, you probably want to run 60 to 70 points into here, but I don't, and I've felt that I've actually been fine without it, but I might eventually end up putting more in there, depending on how bogged down I get by, like, Zergs and stuff. But, yeah, if you're getting hit by, like, 3 or 4 Nightblades at the same time, with those nasty-ass Nightblade builds, with Surprise Attack and all that shit, you're not going to survive at all, especially with this being that low, but it's up to you. 35 Spell Shield, 35 Medium Armor Focus, 28 Resistance, 31 Thick Skin, 37 Elemental Defender, 37 into Hardy, 19 into Quick Recovery for more heals. Like I said, this is just a template. You don't have to run it how I do. I switch my champion points around all the time. I think I covered pretty much everything in the build. If I missed anything, just let me know in the comments down below. Also, I just wanted to give a shout out to everyone that's been supporting the channel and showing me love. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me. Also, I wanted to give a shout out to Kirkhoff, BGE Gaming, and Karaoke, Mando, all of them. Make sure you check out all their channels. They've helped supported my channel and helped me out in some other ways. So make sure you check their channels out. But that's all I have for the build today. Hopefully you guys enjoy. And like I said, if you have any questions, just ask. Appreciate you stopping by, checking out the channel. And I hope you all have a good day.